a lot of people walk around in life totally unaware of their actions, behaviors,
Yes.
for a lot of reasons.
Are you ready for an extreme makeover of the mind? With the producer and host of a Better You podcast, the transformational coach whose assignment is to challenge people to change, grow, and evolve into the individuals they were created to be. Here is Dr. Anthony McFarland, providing you with practical tools and wisdom for everyday life challenges for you to win in life, relationships, and finances.
Well, hello and welcome to the ABU platform. I'm excited about this new season as I interview people who have experienced what some would call a suddenly moment and others a critical pivot in their lives. I really believe that we can take the experiences and lessons learned from life from those who have had those experiences as well as lessons and turn them into a positive for us. Give us a sense of expectation as we purpose to walk in our own potential and to achieve new things in life, whether you're young or you're mature in life. This whole podcast is about assisting you in becoming and developing into the man, woman that God has foreordained for you to be, specifically the best version of yourself. My aim as a coach is to challenge people to change, evolve, and become the individuals that God foreordained for them to be, and that is to be the best version of you. Who else can you be being you except you? So today I'm excited about the guest that I have on with us today. She worked for Kaiser Hospital for 20 years in management. At some point in time on her journey, she moved to Oslo County, where she served as Oslo County Commissioner and Vice President of the Jacksonville Oslo Chamber of Commerce. Governor Pat McCrory appointed her to serve on the board of directors for the North Carolina Council for Women. She is none other than the Millionaires. If you've never met a Millionaires, today you get to meet Air Williams, who is a certified life coach and mental health coach and is the president and CEO of Effectual Life Coaching Enterprise. She has a proven track record in establishing rich, equitable relationships, which proved to be successful with everyone she has been involved with. And I'm excited about having her on with us today. Let's welcome her. Millionaires, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Well, hello, Pastor. It is a blessing to be here, and thank you for the honor and privilege to be amongst your audience today. I am truly excited, and every time I'm interviewed and they ask the question, Million, how are you? I'm like, the P word. I'm phenomenal. I don't do it any other way.
Yes. I like to say I'm supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Love it.
Great. So again, thank you for joining me on this podcast. Again, it's a new season for me, and I'm just excited to see what will unfold each week with each guest and how we can assist individuals in their pivot in becoming the best them they can be, a better you. So with that, can you just tell me a little bit about your journey before you became the Millionaires, so to speak, although you were always the Millionaires, but what brought you to this point of coaching and being the executive that you are?
Well, I would say it goes back quite a while. I tell people I'm 67 years young, so that
All
right
right.
there, I am grateful for waking up every day to that. And but I've always had an interest in human behavior. I've always wondered, even when I was much younger, what made people do what they do, when they do what they do, and how the mind, the body, the soul, spirit moves in alignment, or there's the disjointedness, and you can see in people's behavior, they say one thing, but they're doing something else. And one of my favorite terms as I studied psychology was cognitive dissonance, where you've
Yes.
got the two battle zones going on in the brain, and I always call it, a little angel and a little devil
The
there.
devil.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so you've got that conflict going on, and at the end of each year, I sit with the Lord and I ask for the governance of my life, the words to dictate for my next year. And the one word that always, I mean, without a doubt, is alignment.
Mm-hmm.
Things must be aligned for me. I am that individual that if it's not lined up, I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it because it could be a good thing,
Yes.
but if God's timing is not on it, I don't want anything to do with it because it's not going to yield what I'm thinking is going to happen at the end. But when you know that you are aligned with him and his timing,
Yes.
you got to drop both those mics right there because it's a done deal.
Yeah. I think that's what sets an individual up for the pivot,
Yes.
or the turn, the change.
Yes.
That's
And
good.
you know, it's a mindset. It's a lifestyle, I tell people. When I wake up in the morning, number one, I'm grateful that I transitioned from sleep to consciousness. Some people did not have that pivot right there.
That's right. That's good.
So just waking up in the morning is a pivot each day, brand new, fresh anointing to breathe in the oxygen today
Yes.
that God has sanctioned for your life and to live in the presence in the moment of
Yes.
that and grab that and hold on to that and not allow the external forces in life to come in to dictate. I tell people emotional intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
It is a factor, it's a term that a whole lot of us need to comprehend and understand
Yes.
because you got to do that self analogy and you got to be in a space in life when things show up, how you handle that, how
Yeah.
you respond to that,
Yes.
and take self inventory. If you're not where you need to be, then, you know, do the inner work. I tell people we
Yeah.
all have to do the inner work because you
Yeah.
cannot pivot without the inner work going on.
Let's dig into what you've already shared. And what I hear you saying is everybody every day experiences a pivot.
Yes,
The moment
absolutely.
we open our eyes,
Yes,
breathe air, oxygen.
yes. That's the
That's
genesis right there.
that's it right there. And then you're saying from there, when we're self-aware, we most people don't understand or know what emotional intelligence is. Although in
Absolutely.
corporate, I probably say the past 10 years, it's become a topic. Now they actually teach emotional intelligence in institutions and colleges,
Right.
which is really needed. And then there's certified courses for leaders. Mostly every leader needs to take an emotional
Yes.
intelligence course. But with that, I believe could we say from a mental health perspective that there's a self-help pivot that you're able to make happen when you're aware of your mental health, your thoughts, right?
Yes.
Your behaviors that are unhealthy,
Yes.
unproductive.
Yes.
Yeah,
Because a lot of times, oftentimes, people are driven by emotion
right.
as opposed to sometimes being objective to a situation and making decisions out of emotion.
Yes.
You've got to step back because one of the major characteristics of the Lord that I just love, he's this master strategist.
Yes.
And if I'm made in his image and likeness, that's a trait, a characteristic that I need to
Yes.
possess. And when you're a strategist, it means that you make a decision and you look at, okay, if I do A, B, or C, but if I choose A, how is it going to affect other people around me? If I choose B, how is that going to affect my immediate sphere of influence? If I choose C, how is it also going to affect me? And so when you're making decisions in your life, you can't just arbitrarily make a decision and think that you're the only one that is going to either
Right.
it's going to be the consequence of it, good, bad, or indifferent. So
Right.
you have to take on the characteristics in making decisions in life.
Yeah,
You've got to be a strategist, and you don't need to be a business person to do that.
that's
Just
good.
in your home, in your relationships, on your job, your career, it could cost you.
Yes. Yeah. And what you're sharing, and I want our partners to, I want everyone watching this to understand really what you're saying, because you're speaking to emotional intelligence,
Hmm.
which is the ability to manage both your own emotions. And I think this is where a lot of people, including myself at times, and that's why understanding emotional intelligence is so important. It's understanding the emotions of the people around you
Yes,
from home to work.
yes,
And
absolutely.
but it starts with, as you're saying, if you're going to be a strategist, to first have self-awareness.
Yes,
And I always say self-awareness leads to you taking the next step with the right tools to develop self-mastery. And so it's that
yes.
self-awareness. And then once I'm in tune to where I'm at, where I'm off,
Hmm.
if I need that spiritual or physical chiropractic,
Yes,
chiropractic,
yes,
help,
that's good. Yes,
then there's the self-regulation that
absolutely.
and then the motivation and I'm able to move about with empathy, which a lot of people actually are they 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 have we have it, but it hasn't been developed, which then turns into our social skills.
Yes.
So what do you say to the person who is saying, okay, I hear you,
Hmm.
and I'm really unhappy with where I'm at in my life, and I
Hmm.
want to experience like this pivot. I want to experience change. How do they go? What's the first step to that?
Yeah.
Let's unfold
And
that.
one of the first steps, and you said key critical, is being self-aware. A lot of people walk around in life totally unaware of their actions, behaviors,
Yes.
for a lot of reasons. People around you don't hold you accountable, so you just
Hmm.
do whatever.
Yes.
Um, as I shared with some of my clients, African American clients specifically, I have said to them, whenever you hear this term describing somebody in your family, that's a mental health issue. And this is strictly it. And you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Oh, girl, Aunt Susie, she just as crazy as she want to be.
Yeah.
That conversation speaks to a person that's out of control. And everybody in the family knows it. And we all have them in the family.
Yes.
And that's not just to African American families.
It
That's the
across
human
the board.
family.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. If they breathe in oxygen and they walking around
Yeah.
human being, yeah, we all have it.
Yes.
Okay. But we don't recognize it as a behavior that needs to be checked, a behavior that needs to be investigated, analyzed, and now we need to do something about it.
Right.
People don't like to check themselves, and they really don't like somebody else checking them. But I tell people it's how you do it,
Yes.
that way of communicating. When, if I know that there's a situation, maybe with a sister, and I'm like, I love you, sis, but I need to have this conversation with you. You have to prepare people's emotions when you have to take them down a certain pathway that that is not going to be the most pleasurable conversation to have with them. So you prepare people emotionally
Right.
as opposed to just throwing it out there. And so it also lends to communication skills,
Mhm.
how we talk to one another.
Woo.
But
Come on.
getting back to that self-awareness,
Yeah.
I tell people one of the things I have my clients do is like, we're going to talk about your past life cycle. And I love working on a board in writing things out for people. So we're not just having communication and verbal communication. And one of my clients, I said, you know what? She was just very unhappy with her entire life. I said, okay, well, we're going to break this down. And you're going to give me the first 5 years of your life, give me some things that happened from a trauma standpoint. And I also want the positive things that have happened. So I do the 5-year increments and have that all on a big board for them to
Yes.
see. We're writing it out.
Yes.
So you have to sometimes go back
Right.
in some areas of your life to pinpoint some things
Right.
that triggers you for how you handle your emotions today.
Right.
And most people, again, don't take the inner journey. One of the best books I've got to put out there, and I know you've probably heard of it, Dr. Arthur S. Peck, The Road Less Traveled.
Yes.
So many people don't want to travel the road less traveled because that book, I tell people, it's like doing autopsy on yourself, where you take the knife and you cut down and you pull it back and you look at the self.
That's
The
right.
self is ugly.
Yeah.
Self
Sometimes
is real
nasty.
ugly.
Sometimes nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, we got to go back and look at some of those spaces, because I say I've phrased a thing where people make these decisions subconsciously, where you make an inner vow and you don't even know that you made it. And I was raised by a single mom. We spent weekends with my dad, my sister and I grew up Long Island, New York. And my mom and dad were separated, never legally divorced, but just separated for years, never remarried. But from that, and even though I had a relationship with my dad and he took care of us, as a child, somewhere along the line, guess what I said to myself? A man will never leave me.
Mm.
And I looked back one day on my relationships. I've left all of them that I've left.
Mm-hmm.
So going back will help you understand
That's the
who
result
you
of
are
the effects of
today.
childhood trauma. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we all have it.
Because those experiences shape and cultivate our beliefs and our perception.
Yeah.
It actually helps, as you know, as a professional coach therapist. It shapes our view of the world.
Yes. Your worldview. Absolutely.
And your worldview, which translates into our relationships.
Yes.
And you'll kind of go through life if not careful. I always tell people, if you've been married 3 or 4 times, I know it's been everybody else, but at some point in time, if you're your 3rd or your 4th, hey, stop and look at the man in the mirror, because you may have something to do with, these critical changes in your life that are not good pivots.
This is very true.
Yeah. Let's
And
talk about, I know you have a book
mhm,
entitled Mental Health is Your Wealth.
right.
And let's talk about that a little bit. And let's talk about that.
Yeah. So one of the books that I have is it's a mental wealth toolkit. Never start your day without it. It's always
Okay.
hard to put this in the camera because you're opposite of what the camera's
Yes.
looking at. It kind of feels kind of weird. But I'm going to read real briefly the
Okay.
introduction to the book. It
Okay.
states, this book provides the reader a multifaceted approach to tools, techniques, and a plethora of engaging exercises to assist you with your mental wellness. Additionally, there is a self-care litmus test that you can take to help assess where you are in the world of self-care. There are websites, YouTube links, and additional books to add to your journey to mental wealth. So I have started asking people, as someone says, how are you doing today? I started saying, how's your mental health today? Because everything in life that's going on is about our mental health.
Mhm.
And I remember when COVID hit, I said to my husband at that time, I said, I'm very concerned what the world is going to look like 5 years
Yeah.
after COVID.
On the other side, yes.
Yes,
Yes.
because a cause and effect. And we know it's been tumultuous.
Yeah. We know today there's a whole generation that's been
Yes,
affected by it,
yes,
didn't get a chance to finish school properly, graduate,
yes, yes.
and they're actually coined as, I forgot what
Mm,
it's like they've been coined and marked between those 3 years,
wow.
which they're still suffering
Yes, they are. It's
effects of it today
post-traumatic
with
stress disorder at this
post-traumatic,
point.
yes, stress
Yes.
disorder, but they've been marked, and that mark is going to
Mm-hmm.
go with them in their future,
Yes.
and as well as when they're evaluated with employment and everything else,
Yes.
that okay, this person is from that
Yeah, that era.
era,
Right.
that
Right.
pandemic era, which
Yes.
caused
Yes.
trauma, in
Yes.
essence, PTSD, trauma.
Yeah. Bottom line.
Bottom line, and there's side effects to it.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
most of us, we haven't been taught, especially within the African American
Mm,
community, the brown community, black and brown community,
yes.
to we haven't been taught about mental health.
No,
It's
we
like,
haven't.
hey, just get over it. You're
Yeah.
gonna be all right. Suck it up.
Oh, well,
What I'm not going, husband and wife. I'm not, men for real. I'm not
mm,
going to no counselor. I'm not going to sit in front of some therapist, lay on the
that
couch,
don't know
tell them
us.
all my problems, and they probably got more problems than me, and I've been dealing with this all my life, so I'll be all right. But at the same time, I'm killing you.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
destroying you.
And killing everybody in the family.
I'm incapable. I'm incapable of loving you
Yeah.
because I don't even know how to love myself. And I think that's something right there for people to
Yes.
understand, and that will cause a pivot within itself. If someone doesn't get anything from this episode today, and that is you will not experience a pivot in your own personal love for yourself, let alone love for others, until you learn how to love yourself. You can't give, I can't give
What you don't have.
what we don't have.
Impossible.
Yeah, impossible. That's a great introduction. What are some of the tools that people will learn in that particular piece of work?
There are love quotes to you. And one
Oh,
of the
okay.
love quotes to you is love up on you.
Oh,
Smile
that
from your
speaks to what we're
heart.
talking about.
Yes, you are important. You matter all the time. Allow the love to permeate and flow through your soul.
These these statements, these declarations, if I can say
Yes,
that, affirmations sound so simple. It's
yes,
nothing that
yes. So
it's not.
cliche.
Yeah. And it's nothing that like woos you or go, wow, that was deep. Wow, that was powerful. But when you say it's so much power in you matter, I matter.
Yes,
He's saying to myself, I matter.
yes, yes.
And
Me. I.
that's not being a narcissist or anything like that.
Yeah.
But if you don't learn to love you, if you don't see that you matter, everybody else and everything else will matter except for you,
Yes.
and then you'll not understand why your life is being lost in translation.
Yes, yes. Every day you wake up,
Yeah,
you're living a lost life,
yeah,
going through same time, same back station. No life, no passion, no excitement to life. To
yeah,
wake up and know that God has something new for you today. Every day you wake up, it's
yes,
a brand new opportunity to see life on a whole nother platform, to
yes,
embrace all what He has for you.
yes,
Oh my God, I wake up with such excitement.
yes.
Oh, and my husband sometimes just walks around shaking his head because I'm like the ever ready bunny. I'm just,
Right.
yeah, that's just who I am because I love life. I love people.
Okay, how did you have you always been like that? Or what happened what pivot took place?
I'm going to share that with you. Good
Okay.
question. So glad you asked that one. As a child, my mom, number one, in our household, never allowed the word can't.
Mm, mm-hmm.
Can't in our household growing up
Was a bad word.
a curse word. If somebody came to visit our home and they used the word can't, my mother would stop you and give you a whole dissertation. She said it should have never been in the dictionary.
Wow.
So I grew up with this model that told me, Million, anything you do is possible. If you think you want to do it, you better go on and do it.
Mm.
Give you an example. My mom died at 49, which is very young. She was a chronic asthmatic. But do you know my mom left my sister and I 3 homes,
Wow.
3 pieces of property,
Come on.
plus a nice life insurance. And that was 43 years ago that she did that as a single Black woman on Long Island, New York.
Woo!
We had a cabin upstate New York. We had a home in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and we had a home on Long Island, New York. Single woman, going at 49, but accomplished that.
I hope the people are catching this. You are a walking demonstration of what generational wealth and legacy looks like. That sets you up for your pivot to play on a different playing field. Come on. Yeah.
Don't have me jumping around up at your You have me taking off in flight.
Come
I'm
on.
gonna be my Learjet in 2.5.
So financial literacy is so important. It's legacy. You are her legacy. You are her voice in the earth realm.
Oh my
Because of
God.
the sacrifice that she made.
When I tell you what I watched with that woman, my mother never cussed at us. We didn't have that in the household. She went to school, got her degree, and that's all I ever saw.
See, let me tell you what I'm hearing. What I'm hearing is her aha moment. Her pivot propelled her to take the necessary steps
Yes.
to set you all up.
Yes.
Or let me retract that. To create an environment.
Yes. There you go. You're right.
She had a growth mindset.
Yes.
Didn't even know it. Wasn't called that back then.
My mom was an entrepreneur when I didn't even know what that word was. As a child, never heard of it.
Yeah.
My mom, they used to call her the Black Jew. We used to go into New York City every Saturday morning. My mom sold clothes on the side from her regular job. She'd go down there and Jew the Jews out of, and we'd come back home and she'd sold clothes. I got best dressed in high school because I never wore the same thing twice. My sister and I never had hand-me-downs.
Wow. Wow.
So that's what I saw. That was my model. And this woman did that being a chronic asthmatic. We spent many a nights at the emergency room. But that illness, my mom, she was this unstoppable force.
You just said the word right. My January 2024 event, that is the headliner, Becoming Unstoppable in 2024. Unstoppable. That is the operative word right there.
And I did not know that.
And because that was in her DNA.
Yes. Yes.
It transferred over to you and your sister.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
So I know you have a work that you created, book series, Millionaism.
Yes.
1.0, 2.0, 3.0. I said, okay, all right, 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. Tell us a little bit about that. And then I'm going to ask you one more question before we wrap up.
Got it. I just got to give you one quick thing before I go there.
Okay, that's fine.
The wealth toolkit. There's also a page called Self-Wealth Manifestos. And this one is so powerful. I operate in dominant intention.
Dominant intention.
Yes, I am amazingly unstoppable, and I am aligned with my purpose. There's some more, but let's get to the series real quick. And I'm going to share with you how this came about. For years, I was always excited about quotes whenever I'd hear a quote. So for years, I'd been just keeping quotes, the date that I'd hear it, who was the author of the quote. And one day I was on the phone with a girlfriend of mine, and cliche or that says, it is that question, is your glass half full or is it half empty? Right.
Yes.
And so I was on the phone with my girlfriend and we were talking about that. And I said, girl, my glass is never half full, nor is it half empty. It's always overflowing. And she was like, where'd you get that? I said, girl, that's a Millionism. and it just came out. And she's like, you need to do something with that. I said, girl, you are telling the truth. That's the Holy Ghost truth right there. Pastor, one day I got on my computer and I said, Lord, just give me my own quote. Ooh, when you asked.
A pivot took place.
Pastor. I said at that computer, do you know I came up with over 100 quotes just sitting there, just flowing, coming out of me like.
Wow.
And so that's where the Millionism Series 1.0, bold quotes to live by. That's how it got formulated.
Bold quotes to live by.
Yeah, and I just got to show you a couple of these so what I did, so as I was doing the quotes and I started thinking a little bit more about it, putting the book together, and I said, wow, wouldn't it be interesting to have a visual to go with the content of what it says? So this one is on the first page. When God has selected you to win, that's the end.
Come on.
That's the end. When he has selected you to win, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, this is another good one. He knows what's around the corner, and we do not even know there is a corner. But I tell you, he just put so much in me that is just, here's another good one. If you haven't experienced any issues in life, keep living. I call it life.com.
That's good.
So what I did with the overflow, because I got to show you that one, and then we'll go on to the next. Oh, you know what I may have to do? Not only did I do the book, but it's now in poster form. My glass is never half full, nor is it half empty. It is always overflowing.
Wow.
So I had to get up and share that with you.
Beautiful.
So, and when you've got that creativeness of who God is, you can orchestrate anything in your mind. And I tell people, don't tell me you don't know how to do something. You Google everything else. Google it.
Right.
And now there's AI. Go on to GP chat. Tell it what you, 5 seconds.
Yeah. Let me just say this. All of that is great, but you didn't get it that way. And I believe that those tools have its place. But you had a God factor moment.
Yes.
Because you factor in God.
Yes.
And he gave you a kingdom pivot.
Yes.
With that book, with that series.
Yes.
To help encourage, edify, build up others. So before we end this episode, share with the individual who possibly has lost their way, the individual maybe who is discouraged because nothing's happened for them. They want to experience the pivot, just don't know how to. And there's been a lot of gems dropped in this episode that would help, I really believe would help people. But speak to that person on what they need to do to experience their suddenly, to experience their pivot as you experience your pivot. And as you said at the beginning, every morning, everybody gets the experience. So
absolutely. With that, I am going to talk straight from my heart to the people that are out there, because I need you, I want you to get that God, number one, is not a respecter of persons. What he's given me, what he's given Pastor and others, you can have the same exact thing. One, you got to want it, and you got to be honest with yourself, because this is not a game. We don't get to do life over. So each and every day you wake up is a gift. Your mindset has to change. You have to have that paradigm shift to take place in order to pivot. You know what they say about doing the same thing, you're going to get the same results. So today, make up your mind that you're going to have a pivotal moment. Grab that, hold on to that. When things come in your mind, distractions come in, you hone back in. It's almost the same type of thing that a company, they have a mission statement, and everything that happens has to be formulated around that mission statement to keep that alignment, to keep the company moving forward. So think of yourself as a company. Sit down and ask the Lord to give you a mission statement for your life. I'm a firm believer of visualization. Get it printed out, put it in your bathroom, put it in your bedroom, your front door. I don't care where you need to put it, but post it. So every time you see it, it goes as it settles inside of your soul. Words are life, and you have to speak life into yourself. And you must know without a shadow of a doubt, as I stated, God is not a respecter of persons. So what he's done for one, he will do for the other. But God's relationship is contractable. It's a contract. You do because there are things that we must do, and he will do. Get into that word, formulate people around your sphere of life, of influence that have a change mindset. Because if you're around a bunch of people with that negative energy, that negative mindset, you're not coming out of it. Because trust me, our external environment dictates a lot of what goes on internally. If you have not become the self-aware person that Pastor and myself have come to, because those externals, I put them in checkmate real quick. When they get out of alignment, no. And there's a way to do it. But I'm telling you, today, I pray in the name and in the blood of Yeshua that you have a repurposing, that you have a change mindset, that you have a pivot in your life, that God wants to expand your territory. But do the work, people. What I've accomplished in life, it takes work. Not me sitting down somewhere, not me dreaming about it, talking about it, but putting the steps to it, putting feet to it. Faith without works is the feet, doing something. Stop expecting God to drop the millions of dollars out of the sky somewhere for you. Stop it. Be truthful with yourself. Own this stuff. And wherever you need to make the changes internally, do what you need to do, because your family, if you're a parent, your kids are watching you. I watched my mother. I shared that story. That's why I am in the place I am today. People, wake up.
Wow.
Time is of the essence.
It's good. Repurpose your life for the pivot that you need. ABU Nation, you heard it right here from Coach Air Williams, aka Millionaires CEO, health coach. Thank you so much for joining me today. You all can support her, get those tools that she shared in this, those books that she shared in this podcast by going to the box below and connecting with her. Thank you so much for.
It's been my pleasure and my honor. And please, one last thing. Please give First Lady a big kiss and a hug from me. Please, please out.
Praise God. Again, thank you. Until the next time, continue to walk by faith and not by sight as we all evolve and become the best version of ourselves that God created us.
Thank you for tuning in to a Better You program with Anthony McFarland. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow on your favorite podcast platform so that you never miss an episode. Thanks for listening.